Once upon a time in a faraway kingdom, there was a beautiful princess who was known for her kindness and her compassion. But one day she found herself in a dark, abandoned forest, and she had to use all her strength and skills to survive. Let's find out how. Okay, so here's the story. Long ago in a faraway kingdom, there lived a beautiful princess named Elara. Now, Princess Elara was known throughout the land for her kindness and compassion. She had a heart of gold, and she was always willing to help those in need. But one day, while exploring the kingdom, she stumbled upon a dark, abandoned forest. The trees were tall and dark, and the branches formed a canopy over the forest floor, blocking out the sun. As she ventured deeper into the forest, she began to feel uneasy. The air was still and heavy, and the only sound was the rustling of the leaves in the wind. Then suddenly, a wild animal jumped out in front of her, and she screamed in fright. The animal, startled by her scream, ran away. And that's when she noticed that she wasn't alone. A man was standing behind a tree, watching her. He had a mischievous grin on his face and a glint in his eye. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "And what do you want?" The man stepped out from behind the tree and bowed. "My name is Jester, Princess Elara," he said, "and I am here to help you." Before she could respond, Jester grabbed her hand and pulled her along, deeper into the dark forest. She tried to pull away from him, but he was too strong. And just when she thought it couldn't get any worse, he let go of her hand and pushed her to the ground. "Why did you do that?" she cried. Jester knelt down next to her and said, "You are not as strong as you think you are, Princess Elara. This forest is full of danger, and if you want to survive, you must be strong." He stood up and walked away, leaving her in the darkness. And that's when she realized that he was right. She was scared, alone, and lost in a dark, abandoned forest. But she refused to give up. She slowly stood up and brushed the dirt off her dress. Then she started walking. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew that she had to keep moving. As she walked, she began to remember the lessons her father, the king, had taught her about surviving in the wilderness. She remembered how he had taught her to find food and water, build a shelter, and start a fire. And she knew that these skills would help her survive the night. Using her knowledge, she built a small fire and made a basic shelter. And when morning came, she was grateful to be alive. But as the sun rose higher in the sky, she began to feel a sense of unease. She knew that she couldn't stay in the forest forever, but she also didn't know how to get out. Just when she felt like giving up hope, she heard a sound in the distance. She listened closely and realized that it was the sound of running water. She followed the sound and soon came across a river. The river was wide and deep, and she knew that she couldn't swim across. But then she saw something in the distance. A small boat was tied up on the bank. She ran to it and jumped in. Then she began to paddle. As she sailed down the river, she began to feel a sense of relief. The river was calm and peaceful, and she knew that she was getting closer to safety. And then suddenly, she saw a group of people waving to her from the bank. She paddled to shore and collapsed on the ground, exhausted but relieved. When the people saw her, they rushed to help. They gave her water and food and then helped her to her feet. "Thank you," she whispered. "I am so grateful for your help." The people smiled and said, "You are welcome, Princess Elara. We were worried about you when we saw you come down the river. Are you hurt?" "No, I am not hurt," she said, "but I am lost. Can you help me?" "Of course," one of the men said. "We will take you back to the kingdom." And with that, they helped her onto a horse and rode off. As they approached the kingdom, she could see the tall walls and the guards standing at attention. She felt a surge of relief knowing that she was finally safe. But as she looked back at the dark, abandoned forest, she couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness. She had survived the ordeal, but she knew that she would never forget what had happened to her in the dark forest. So that is the story of how Princess Elara survived the dark forest. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more updates. Thank you for listening.